Hi, this is Tom Southern. I want to welcome you to EDP 494. We're going to be talking about how to make assessments valuable for you as a teacher and constructive for your students. I'm going to do a series of very brief videos, 5 or 6 in all. They'll be posted for you to view. The first one we're going to talk about today is reliability and validity. There are two concepts that are extremely important for you in order to understand how you can make the best of assessments. And the first one is reliability. Reliability is a topic concerning how well does the test consistently test what you're looking to do. Now, what we would be suspicious of, for example, is a scale. When you stepped on it one day, you weighed 150 pounds. When you stepped on it the next day, you weighed 87 pounds. And still a third day, you weighed 227 pounds, particularly if those days were consecutive. The scale in that case would be something we would call unreliable. It does not consistently measure what we might think of as weight. In the same way, when you construct tests, you want those tests to consistently measure the domain you're testing. And so, if it isn't consistent, what you find is that the information you get is not valuable. If one day the student appears to have mastered the material and just a day or two later you find that the student with an assessment completely doesn't understand, this makes your job as an instructor impossible. So, reliability is a major component, and we'll talk a little bit through the course and you'll be reading about how to ensure or understand whether the measures we're using are reliable. The second concept is validity. Validity means, does the test what you intend? So, for example, we could have a perfectly reliable scale, to refer back to our earlier example, that consistently measures the weight for one and all students who undertake it. However, if I'm trying to measure height with that scale, I'll find it entirely inconsistent. For example, stepping on a scale, you might predict that my height is much taller than it actually is. I prefer to think of myself as under tall rather than overweight, for example. This concept of validity is important because what you want to do is to make sure that the instruments and procedures you use tell you information about what you are trying to determine. The relationship between reliability and validity is fairly straightforward. I can have tests that are reliable but are not valid. The scale I talked about using to measure height is an example. However, on the other hand, if I have a test that's unreliable and inconsistent in its report, it can't possibly be valid. Because to be valid, we'd have to be measuring what we are intending to measure. And if I get inconsistent, unreliable results, that's impossible. One way to think of it is reliability is a necessary but not sufficient part of validity. The way we understand and construct estimates of reliability and validity are explained in your text. Go ahead and read it, and if you have questions, feel free to contact me. But in addition, periodically, I'll have open office hours. The first one, Wednesday from 8 to 10 p.m. will be, 9 to 11 p.m. will be available, and it's announced in the announcement sections of your course in NECA. Please review that material. And please continually check NECA for announcements and updates and new videos.